Hey guys, Steve McKenna here with Grounded Agency. So today I'm going to talk about the only funnel you need for selling high ticket clients. Um, we're testing this funnel right now across, not just testing, we're running for months across multiple industries, coaches, consultants, service providers, B2B manufacturing, SaaS and AI companies. We have currently multiple very big marketing agencies, like I'm talking like 30 person plus 30 employee plus marketing agencies who are targeting very large clients in very large sectors. And I can tell you this is performing consistently extremely well. If your average LTV is over $5,000, this is going to change how you think about your marketing. And so I'm just going to start off by saying 99% of the advice that you're going to see on the internet right now is total crap. People are scrambling. They have no idea what they're doing. And there's two big myths that I keep seeing repeated, and I want to address those at the very beginning here. And number one is that you need to produce more and more and more creatives every week to run successful campaigns. I can tell you when you scale to a certain size, sure, you need lots of different creatives, but you do not, especially when you're first getting your funnels going, you do not need to test a million creatives at the beginning. You do not need to be testing 100 hooks all at once. You don't need to be making 25 organic posts a day, and then when one of them luckily hits, turn that into an ad. You don't need to be running 5 different platforms at one time. Some people are saying let Meta do the targeting for you. Some people are saying don't let Meta do the targeting for you. Like, nobody has any idea what they're talking about right now. Everybody's just trying to get to quick results, and I'm going to talk about why that's not working. And then number two is just use AI to make your creatives. And there's so many people just slapping up horrible creatives right now and burning through ad spend like crazy, burning through thousands of dollars a week in some cases. And they're using AI tools to make their creatives. They're letting Claude or Manus write headlines. They're using Chat or Gemini to make their creatives. They're using all these fancy UGC videos and all these and they haven't even figured out what their audience wants to hear yet. And they're just slapping up creatives and telling you that it's going to perform, and it's not going to perform. You're just burning through ad spend. And you do not need to produce these super high quality images and graphics nowadays to I can show you creatives that'll make you laugh if you saw the ROI on some of these things. And they're literally like stick figure images, or like people talking to their cell phones are still crushing it. You don't need to be making N8N workflows with 200 modules that go and scrape 50 websites and pull all this useless data. Like, that's not going to help your ads perform better. And you don't need to be a vibe coder. Like, none of these things are going to help you, and I'm going to prove it to you here. And I can tell you, like, AI does not know your audience. AI doesn't know your market better than you. AI doesn't know your market better than your customers do. It is far from replacing humans still at this point. Do we use it for deep research? Yeah, of course we do. But then we don't just plug deep research into some prompts and think that that's going to somehow like solve our problems. Like, that's not tested. That's not verified information. It doesn't know how to speak to your target audience. It doesn't know your voice. It doesn't know what your branding represents. It's not a substitute for doing the hard work at the beginning. And people are trying to use it to scale before they even know what's working, and that's a huge problem. And I can tell you, in 2026, still the same foundational marketing that worked in 1950, 2020, like these things, like, it hasn't changed that much, you guys. Like, yes, there's AI, and yes, you can produce like some cool fancy stuff like quick, but that doesn't mean that that's going to just like replace all the foundational work that you need to do. Everybody wants to tell you that you join some mastermind group or like click a few buttons and somehow you're just going to have campaigns that perform. And then you spend $5,000 a month on ad spend, and you're gonna book $100,000 clients. Like, it's insane. It's not working. People are figuring it out. Like, lots of these tools are being misused and misrepresented, and I can tell you that like we're proving day in and day out that they don't actually provide a lot of value. And so I know this is a little cliche and it's a little bit oversimplified, but here's the things you need to do. You need to identify a problem that a specific group of people have. Yeah, you want a large enough group of people, but the more specific, the better. And you need to demonstrate that you understand that problem. You need to, show empathy. You need to show, like, the deeper the understanding, the better. and you want to show that you have a solution that actually solves that problem. And then you want to clearly explain how that solution works, ideally with some proof from previous clients. But if not, you can always work towards that. And and that's ultimately the bones of what's working right now for marketing. I know that sounds super simple, but like, it's a good offer for a good problem. So let's talk about that for a minute. Okay, so let's talk about the funnel here. So I was on a call recently with one of my own business coaches, and he was more worried about speed than he was about the quality of his results, and that was shocking to me. Um, Impressions and clicks all cost a lot of money, and it doesn't matter who your customer is. That's what you're buying. You're buying clicks and you're buying impressions. So when you optimize for speed and not for performance, you're just throwing away so much money. And yes, the process that I'm about to explain to you takes a little bit more time at the front end to get it optimized. But when you optimize for conversions, and for like quality results, you have all your pieces put together and you're off to the races. Now you can scale creative. Now you can scale ad spend. Now you can retarget. Now you can do all the fun things that help you get results. So the funnel that we're using for all of these industries right now, that's proving to be the winner out of a million tests, is a blended book a call evergreen funnel. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So just to give you a high level overview, we're starting with our meta traffic ad here, and then we're sending that traffic to a landing page. From the landing page, they're opting in to an upsell page, and on the upsell page, we have a sales asset of some kind. Usually book a call is normally what we're aiming for, because for high ticket, people still want to buy from people. And then the nice thing at the bottom of this funnel is we're retargeting back to a landing page or back to an email sequence or back to like something. So the leads that don't convert are still very viable and very much alive. You've already acquired those leads. So why do we use this funnel and how do we use this funnel? So at the top of the funnel, we want to be super low friction. We're just building trust. We're just trying to get people to opt in. And in order to do this, you need to provide something of value. And yes, we're talking about a lead magnet, and lead magnets worked 50 years ago and they still work today. It's rarely an ebook anymore. That's evolving, where we're typically going to, do a video, or we're going to do a checklist or some sort of value. We're not going to try and sell a product on page one. We're not going to try and book a call on page one. We're not going to ask people to even fill out a quiz. It's too much friction. Like, everybody's trying to push quiz funnels right now, and I can tell you, like, the conversions on them suck. Like, you're spending so much money to get traffic to that quiz, and they don't even trust you yet. So why are these not working very well? That's because that traffic is ice cold. You've just targeted them with interruption marketing. You've given them some messaging that resonated with them, and you've got them to opt in. Maybe like, they're not ready to answer 10 or 15 questions on your quiz and give you a whole bunch of personal information. They don't trust you yet. So you need to give them some value first and try to build up some trust. And, the other question lots of people ask is, why don't we run this? We're targeting high ticket sales. Why aren't we running it on LinkedIn, or why aren't we running it on Twitter? Like, Meta is the cheapest traffic source on the internet for testing. And I can tell you, we're proving it over and over and over again. Like, we're selling high ticket AI software for a customer who, did not think that their traffic would convert on Meta, and it's converting on Meta. We're targeting executives for very, very high ticket coaching programs and sales programs and all these kinds of things. Is converting on Meta, you guys. Like, can we take what we've proven and unlock it and then run it on other platforms? Yeah, 100% we can. But honestly, most clients are getting enough traffic from Meta alone that they're good to go just with that. So once we have the traffic ad converting here, then we're going to go focus on the landing page. And now we want the landing page to unlock. And so what does that look like? Normally we're having some personal information on the landing page about the owner, or about, the team, or about, like, we're presenting people a little bit. And the reason that we do that is that we can prove, with evidence, that having a little bit of personal touch on the landing page, you don't want to be just talking about yourself. That's not what we're doing with the landing page. but like we still want to show that there's people behind this. It's not just, a faceless, nameless corporation or business. Like we want to have a little bit about who they might meet on the call, which is still in the next phase, but still a little bit of an introduction. We want to talk about your clients, not about yourself, but we still want to have a little bit of social proof on there. Like we don't need a ton, but a few testimonials really does help. And we want to give them a little bit of a hint about what they're going to get after the opt-in. So, if we're going to present them with a video, or we're going to present them with a checklist or something like that, like let's tell them that. So that's, we would consider this page to be converting at, 15% or better kind of thing. So like we're not, that's a pretty high conversion rate. You're starting to get to a pretty low cost per lead on that. Like we've got ones that are converting 20-25% right now. Really good offer. We can get there, but like we don't want to be industry average on all landing pages 1 to 3%. Like think about how much traffic you're losing if you're only converting at 2% on a landing page or 3% on a landing page. And that's, so many people are living with those results right now. Okay, so once we got this landing page converting, then we're going to move to the upsell page. And on the upsell page, you can call this a thank you page. You can call it an upsell page, same thing. But it's the second page of your funnel. And this is where we're going to start having an ask. So that could be, offer a free call, strategy call, whatever that looks like. We're going to tell them what they're going to get on that call. We don't really like positioning it as a sales call. It's more of a discovery call, like that kind of thing, right? Like we're just, still pretty cold leads, you guys. Like we still want to, be building trust here. And the second page, we're probably going to have a lot more social proof on there. We're probably going to have, some more information so that they're going to be more inclined. They're going to be more trusting that you can help them and solve their problem. And then again, once we get this page converting, 7, 10%, 12% kind of thing, now we're going to think about adding a quiz. The quiz could be after they book a call. They book a call and then we'll email them 10, they could book a call and then we'll email them 10 questions or something like that. Like, but we're not going to start with that much friction, right? Like let's get that working and then start adding in more layers, right? Like these guys that are out there saying like, oh yeah, spend $500 a day and slam a bunch of traffic in there and put a whole bunch of friction in there. Like it's so backwards. It's such a waste of money. Like you can be running this entire funnel, testing this all for like $25, $30 a day and still generating leads, and then start scaling it up once you know that it's working. Right. So once the second page is working, then we'll, start building decision trees, and then we'll decide like, is this a good lead or a bad lead? And we'll start sending that traffic back to Meta, and we'll say, here's what a really good lead looks like. Right now we're starting to get into custom conversions and retargeting. Right. And then now we've got the glass filling up at the bottom here. And this is where, once you've kind of proven that out, now you can start saying like, okay, you've gotten them to say yes twice. You're building trust with them. You know that you have enough value in multiple steps. You've probably added a filter in there of some sort of quiz or some sort of, questionnaire or something like that. So you really know who the hot leads are. And that lets you determine even how you prioritize those leads anymore. Now you can start like letting people opt out a little bit, or, maybe they're not the most qualified lead, right? Like now you can put them back into your landing page again and your next offer. So you don't need to worry about like, blowing a huge amount of money, getting this process working, and then trying to send that traffic back to another ad or something like that. Like you've already got these guys in email sequences, you're sending them offers, and you can continue to nurture that lead at any time. You've never lost the lead once you have it. You can continue to email them, you can continue to retarget them with ads, and you make more offers, once a month, once a quarter, whatever your business is doing, right? And that list continues to grow. Like I've got lists that are only 3-4 months old and they're like 1,000 leads already. And these are for like high ticket sales. Like they're emailing these people regularly, just saying like, hey, look at this other job we just did. Look at this other testimonial we just gained. Look at this other, like, and that's helping tell the story. You start getting FAQs on these calls. Well, guess what? That becomes part of your email sequence, right? So you can start better qualifying those leads. You can start building better email sequences once you get more sales calls in the pipeline. But like, don't hit them with too much friction at the top of this funnel. You don't need to be spending $500 a day getting ads going. But So a couple notes, and then I'll leave it at this. Be okay with this process taking, like this whole process, like we would estimate your 1 month to get your ad really working properly, your 1 month to really get your landing page working properly, your 1 month to really get your upsell page working properly, and then your 1 month to get your sales ads. Like 4 to 6 months, like you can build out a funnel that, at $1,000 a month ad spend is generating hundreds of thousands of dollars for you. And we're doing that right now. We're proving that with data. Each stage, you will generate revenue from each stage. Obviously, the further down the funnel you're able to push your leads, the better the conversion rates, the more money you're going to generate, right? But like, we've got customers that, I mean, not totally typical results, but they had a ton of testimonials on their homepage. And while we were testing the traffic ad, we were sending traffic to their homepage, and they were generating hundreds of thousands of dollars of sales off of our test ads before we even considered to have like a good ad unlocked. So, depends on what the rest of your ecosystem looks like, but it does happen. When you unlock the landing page, you'll start getting really high quality leads. Like that same client said, when we unlocked the ad, they're like, "This is the best quality leads we've had in 5 years," and it was just purely because we took the time to ask all the questions on the front end. So we were getting very, very targeted with those leads. We weren't trying to be broad, and they were really happy with the results. Obviously once the thank you page is unlocked, you start getting some really good leads, and now you can start retargeting as well. But you guys, if you just slap this together with AI and say, "There's my funnel," and you don't have any data to support it, like you're just wasting so much money. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys learned a lot. If you want to learn more about us and our process, feel free to hop on our website. It's groundedagency.com, GRNDED agency.com. And you can book a call with me, and I will be happy to answer any questions you have. Thanks, guys.